So, hello there, folks. Hello,
Hi.
hello. Hi. We're back already a few days later for another episode of Würfelcast. And today we're going to take a look. Last time we took a look at the older games. Today we're going to take a look at the Cult of the New, which is top 10 games of 2018. And tomorrow, by the way, we're going to take a look at the most anticipated games of 2019, which is Cult of the Future. So, what do you think about that?
Sounds exciting. I mean, I never know what's coming out, so I might have less to say because it's hard to get excited about things that I don't have yet, but I'm sure there's some things to look forward to.
Oh, definitely. But also, with us having the kind of a different approach to this episode, I think it will be a little bit more fun because we
Okay.
have two new segments. One of the segments, maybe we did that before. One of the segments is called Desired Play. I call it Desired Play.
Oh, clever
We're gonna
name.
we're gonna talk about that in a moment. And the second new segment is Guess That Game. We're gonna play a small game. So let's see what happens. Yeah.
All
Anyway,
right. I'm
good.
curious.
You're curious. Good. So, but
Hmm.
before we go with any of these nice, cool games, and by the way, the chat is also live, so you can write anything in the chat. So just argue with us, ask questions, or whatever else you want to do, or agree with us, or play a game with us, by the way. Because when we play Guess That Game, you can also we'll give you a little bit of time so you can guess the game in the chat as well. So, and for somebody who is watching this one after it's been live, like any other day, you can still try to guess the game before we guess it ourselves. Yeah. So anyway, without further ado, let's go to recent plays. And I'm going to start with a very recent play. It's one of the 2018 games, by the way, and that's Detective, the modern crime, whatever, modern crime board game, something like that.
Yep.
It's from the Portal Games, and this game is something very similar to another game that came out also in 2018. That's Chronicles of Crime, where you are investigators, or here you're kind of you're like a CSI kind of a type group. You are the different investigators trying to solve the crime. There is a certain case. Detective itself takes kind of a. It feels like like a choose your own adventure kind of story on its own, because you are a little bit you're deciding if I want to go that way or that way. It's not completely choose your own adventure, but it has a little bit of that vibe. It has that kind of a mechanic that has been evolved to into something different. And there's a lot of deduction. There's a lot of cool parts. The cool part is that you use the computer, or you can use the iPad, whatever, for the Antares database, where you go and you put in the names and different signatures, whatever, so you can get the blood traces and so on, fingerprints, and everything is like online, and you can get those different history moments, and you get those different conversations and data on various suspects and so on, the fingerprints and so on. And also there are sometimes those little icons, Wi-Fi icons, where you can also get a historical background on certain terms. And yeah, I really enjoyed. I don't want to spoil much, but it all of, I think, 5 cases in the box. There is the overarching story. I played only one so far, only the first case, and it's kind of a hard. There are
You seem
some
to be having a bit
things.
of a problem.
What? You don't hear me? Do you hear me?
I
Hello?
can hear you now. It was a bit spotty there for a minute.
Oh, a little bit laggy maybe because of the internet. But anyway, yeah, I'm just gonna continue. It's more for the crowd.
Yep. Yep.
So yeah, about detective is that in this one you are It's really hard. The questions at the end, but you have to resolve the case by answering specific questions, and you kind of feel, even if you solve the case and you look at those questions and you answer those questions, you feel like you could never get them all because there is only a limited amount of time and you must explore so wisely and you must know exactly what you're doing. But that's what I liked about this one. It's something that in real life you're probably not gonna get 100% of information when you know solve the crime. So I really like Detective. I don't want to spoil much, but this is kind of a adventurous storytelling deduction game with choose your own adventure elements. So I would definitely recommend this game. That's Detective
Okay.
Modern Crime Board whatever game. Yes.
I have a copy. I got one on the pre-order, and I have not played it yet. So that's just one that's sitting here winking at me, telling me
You
it would
haven't
love to
played
be
it?
played. No, I haven't because it looked like it would take a long time, and I wanted to find somebody who wanted to spend a long time with it with me, and have not done so yet.
Oh, it's the cases are you can play the cases separately. You can also I don't know where's the case number 6, something like that. It's a separate edition. You can play case number 6 separately from the whole story,
Okay.
and you can play those cases alone as well.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
it, it, I feel like it's gonna be a great solo game as well.
I'll look forward to trying it. I've got it sitting here
Yeah,
someday.
get the solo game going. So, what's your recent play?
All right, my recent play is one that I finished just a few days ago. It was one I was super excited for before this, just at the end of 2018 when it arrived, and that is Aeon's End. Now, I love Aeon's End. It's a game
Hmm.
I've loved a lot. I taught it a couple times on the cruise to different people. I really enjoy the story. I enjoy all the variety. It's a little cooperative deck building game, and
Yeah.
the legacy version is a great way to play Aeon's End. It's a great way to learn the game. The story was interesting. It was 8 scenarios, and if you lost any, you were supposed to replay those, except for a couple of them. A couple of them you wouldn't replay, but you sort of take a character and you develop the character as you go along. And at the end, what you have is a character that you can then take and put into other games of Aeon's End. The story was interesting. Some of the bosses were really very, very fun. Some of them I'm very excited to play
Hmm.
outside the legacy way. No need to spoil things in the campaign if you're going to go through it. But if you like Aeon's End, it's a great game that you'll probably really enjoy. I think it's worth the effort of going through the story as well. And I just had a really great time with it.
Oh, it's really cool. I've never played Aeon, I don't know if I would definitely. I don't know if I would enjoy it. It's kind of a Euro type, or is it?
Not really. Well, it's a co. I mean, if you don't, its most logical comparison is Sentinels of the Multiverse, although they're nothing alike. But
Hmm.
it's sort of if you, it's also there's a lot less going on than in Sentinels of the Multiverse.
Yeah.
But you're sort of it's a cooperative deck building game where you don't shuffle your deck. It's sort of if you want to work together and fight against a big bad and try and beat it, um, then that's the game for you. I um, I find most of them are pretty close. So in the 8 games we played, we lost one, and 3 of them we were one turn away from losing when we ended up winning.
Hmm.
The first couple were very introductory and not very close at all. But as the game got on, it ramped up in difficulty at the same rate that we were ramping up in difficulty with our or in power with our characters. So it worked really well. Victor played with me. We just sort of played it in 2 days, all the scenarios, and I just had a great time.
That's really cool. So we also have a question from the chat. How about Time Stories? Played the Asylum scenario last summer, and I'm wondering what your thoughts are. What are your thoughts on that? Is it considered to be a modern detective game? Um, I would say
Uh,
Time Story is something quite different, though it also uses the elements of choose your own adventure, but in a more cinematic way, in my opinion. And Time Stories is more about those not really visual. I cannot really say it's a cinematic experience. It's going through kind of a campaign type thing more than a detective, which is like, you have these things over here and you have these materials over here and try to deduce stuff. In time stories, you do something similar, but yeah.
Well, I haven't played detective, so I can't comment, but Time Stories almost feels like it feels more akin to the escape room style games than it does to the one that I've played, which is that's this Chronicles of Crime. So I mean,
Yeah.
I can speak to that one, and it's I don't know those felt very different from each other. That and Time Stories, but
hmm Yeah, the biggest difference for me is that if, like with Chronicles of Crime, let's say with detective so on, you have kind of a, let's say you have the center spot, and then all the different webs spread out of that kind of a deduction elements. With time stories, there's kind of a the beginning and there's at the end, and you go through that kind of a progression as you're seeing a movie or something like that. Although it has the elements of deduction as well, but yeah, more like escape room. So
yeah.
is that anyway? All right, so let's go to my second recent play, and it's extremely recent. It's almost like an hour, yeah,
Huh,
2 hours
pretty
ago.
recent.
Recent one, yes. And I played. I wanted to say Dale of Merchants. No, I played Dawn of Peacemakers. If you know, this is a game from Sami
Hmm.
Laakso. Yeah, you know it.
Yep,
Yeah,
I have it. I haven't played it yet.
yeah. So the Dawn of Peacemakers itself, it's a co-op game. It's a campaign game, and you can play campaign or skirmish. But it is said that you should play at least few games of campaign so you can unlock few things, because it has those locked things as well, like small surprises, like kind of a like scythe type campaign mode, not exactly
Yep.
legacy. Yeah, but you're unlocking more things for more scenarios, for later scenarios. And we played like two scenarios in a row right now, the first and second one. The I would say it starts very light. It doesn't have many rules. It doesn't have many different abilities and so on. Um, Small concerns that I have about like Dawn of Peacemaker. By the way, it's first of all, the sculpts are from those who made Mice and Mystic sculpts.
Chad
And
Hobiter. Yeah.
yeah, so and art as well, it's from Sami Laakso, so it's very cute. It's like the animal folk, the anthropomorphic world. I really like that. um but small caveats is like, first of all, yeah, maybe the first game is a little bit boring, the first scenario itself. Although you're familiarize yourself with the mechanics, so you kind of go through that. It's not the most exciting. It depends. If you think of it as just introduction, then why not? The second one was better. And the other caveat I have is that we are adventurers, but there's no there's no differentiation, and I think the rules don't are not exact. But I don't know if we can show cards to each other. But that's where when I play co-ops and it says that you cannot show cards to each other, I'm like, nope, I'm gonna show them. That's my house rule, because we're playing cooperatively. Why cannot? Like, oh, I can tell about those cards exactly. I can probably tell what's written there, but I cannot show it. Like, stupid. It's why. Anyway, I don't know. I don't remember exactly what's written in the rules, but the thing is that in this game you are trying to hold off armies. There's the two different opposites, the blue and the red army, whatever they are, macaws and os-
Ocelots.
ocelots. Yes,
Hmm.
and you want both of them to withdraw. So you want both of them to take casualties or something like that to drop motivation, but not too much. So both of them will withdraw. But if one or the other team wins, you will just go further with the campaign. So the caveat I had is there's no special abilities, but the cool part is that you, even though you can like kind of fail the scenario, the story goes on, and you go with the next scenario, because each scenario will. I cannot really. I don't want to spoil anything, but there will be things that can be bad or good depending on if you lose or win scenario. But you go forward each time, and that's where you're not stuck with that certain scenario if you cannot win that, and that's really cool. I like that. um, and the previous caveat about not having special abilities means that if you play it like with 4 players. I didn't play it. I played with 2 players only, and I feel like I would not add any more players. 3 or 4, it would be basically the same, just more players, which means less decisions to you, less cards in your hand, you know. And that's where I feel like this game is probably great solo or 2 players,
Okay.
and no more. I would definitely
Mm.
not recommend it with more than 2. So, but Dawn of Peacemaker is a nice. I like the whole aspect, the whole theme about trying to kind of manage the armies, because they do things on their own, but you're trying to anticipate. You see, like you look in the future, trying to see what they are doing and trying to mitigate casualties on both sides, whatever.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm curious to try that one. I've got it sitting up here. I've had it for a month or so, and I just haven't even gotten it out yet. I guess I opened it and started reading the rules, but then something else came in. You know how that goes. And having just played 2 legacy games, I don't know if I'm ready to get into another campaign just yet. We're also still in the middle of our Comanauts campaign. So
I'm in the middle of 2 campaigns now. So basically, I want to have now. I'm gonna play Dawn of Peacemaker's campaign. Of course, I also have Legacy of Dragonhold that I haven't played with that same person I played Dawn of Peacemaker. So that's the second campaign, and the third one is Scythe that I'm gonna continue tomorrow, by the way. So
well, good for you.
Sounds like
fun.
That's a lot, but you cannot find time for every possible one.
I understand.
Yeah. So yeah, that's that. So you're another play.
My second recent play is not a new game, but it is an expansion to a game that I have loved for a long time. I finally got the expansion to the play, so to the table, and that is the expansion for Great Western Trail. This is the Rails to the North expansion. And what this really does is, if you haven't played Great Western Trail, one portion of the game is delivering cattle. You're sort of building a hand of cows with different types of cows with values to get as far down this track as you can. And the end of the track is San Francisco, which is 18. If you get a hand of 18 value, you get all the way to the end. Well, the Rails to the North adds an extra board that goes on top, and it covers up that rail track, and it adds a whole bunch of other destinations you can go. And it gives you an extra action you can do to sort of build your network so that you can go to some of these farther away areas and deliver to them instead. It doesn't change the core mechanisms of the game. It just adds one extra action, and then it sort of changes the value on the deliveries. So you can just do things the way you had been doing them all along and ignore the rails completely, or you can sort of build the rails out. And since it was my first time playing, that's what I chose to do. I found that it was enjoyable. It did change, my perception of value a little bit, but that's okay. It's good to have a bit of a change up in the game. I really enjoy the game. It's in my top 10. It's one of my, it's a game that I'm always looking for a chance to play. And I think the Rails to the North expansion is a nice, fresh way to play it. I just wish it would all fit in one box.
All right. You know how I feel about Alexander Pfister and all these German style games and German style German designers. So yeah.
Well, it's a great game if you like Great Western Trail. If you don't like Great Western Trail, it's not going to change your mind about it. It's not. It really is just another thing to do and a slightly different way to play. What is generally just sort of the same game with a few more options thrown in. I had a good time with it.
Yeah, I like how it sounds. I mean, like, it sounds like it's kind of like a module type thing. Some expansions add too much, and this one is like it's just a module.
Yeah,
it's a nice module.
It's one module, and I could see but it's not one that I think I would always play with. It's one that I would play with some of the time. So, but probably for the next few times because it's new and I'm excited about it. So anyway, that's my other recent play for today.
Good. All right, and now let's go to our next topic, or let's say next segment, and that's desired play. And let me explain what it is. So basically, we're going to talk about the games that we want to get to the table, and that can be new unplayed games, or we're going to talk about one game each. It can be a new unplayed game, or the old game we haven't got to table, or the game we got to table yesterday, and now we really want to play it again, or yeah,
So
something
basically, I
else.
talk about Summoner Wars.
You can, but is it fun? That's the other. That's the other topic. But so my desired play, like I have a ton of games that I want to get to the table. Like some of these are unplayed and so on. And but the game I think I really 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 want to get back to the table is Anachrony, and that's because I want to experience that heavy Euro game again. So I played Underwater Cities recently on the cruise. It's kind of like a heavier game. It's I wouldn't say it's like a heavy Euro game. Underwater Cities for me is like medium heavy, something like that. But after that, I felt like I really want to get Anachrony back, and because I really like the worker placement aspects, the different workers, and going with those exosuits and borrowing resources from the future, and then getting them back, and it's just a very tight play, very many things going on, all the iconography things, but everything makes sense. This game was smooth. Like I mean, for that kind of a heavy Euro game, it was rather streamlined, and I just feel like I really want to have this kind of a good Euro-y, a little bit more dry experience again, heavy experience again. Though I would say Anachrony is not as dry, heavy Euro as many others that I have tried so far. So that's my desire to play Anachrony.
Okay. I like Anachrony a lot. I was just looking around for it while you were talking about it. I haven't played it in a while. It's a good game. I haven't played with all of its modules. I've played the base game several times, though, and I really enjoy Anachrony. Um, my game that I want to play is an old game, reaching way, 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 way back. It was recently
Catan?
reprinted. No, it's not quite that old, but this was, I believe, the second game from Planet Hat Games.
Hmm.
No, it's the third. It was the third game from Planet Hat Games, and it's a game that was recently reprinted with sort of a different theme. But this game is City of Remnants,
Yeah.
and City of Remnants is a game that it was a lot of fun to play. It sort of has a bit of deck building in it as you're sort of customizing your gang to make it as formidable as possible. It's got special abilities, it's got some area control, you've got to build things up and work on your economy. It's just got a little bit of everything. Now, the older version of it has some problems. It's very dark and kind of hard to see things, and it takes up too much space. And I think in the newer version, which is called Neon Gods, I think they've fixed some of those issues. But I guess I have both. I just really always loved City of Remnants. It always kind of felt like one that was just mine and nobody else had but me. And it was one that it can be brutal, it can be very aggressive, it can be very interactive, it can be just sit here and do your own thing. You sort of make of the game what you want of it. But I would love to get City of Remnants back to the table, and I plan to do so as soon as possible.
Hmm. But not Neon Gods,
Well, I'll try
the other
either
version.
one. I think I want to try Neon Gods as well, but City of Remnants is the one that I know how to play. It's Neon Gods, I have to go through the rules, and as far as I can tell, they've just changed a few things and added a lot of garish colors to it. But I try either one. I think they're really the same game as far as I
Hmm.
can tell.
Yeah, I heard that there are some differences and that Neon Gods is even worse than City of Remnants. That's what I heard.
It's
So
worse.
worse. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay. Well, I hope it's not worse. The City of Remnants was good. So, but I want to try both, I guess. So I'll cheat and say the game and its reprint.
yeah, maybe it's almost the same game. So
Hmm.
all right, so we've done with this desired play topic and segment, and let's go to yet another new segment, and that's called Guess That Game. And in this segment, we're gonna give hints about various games and try to guess them. Yeah. So,
Yep.
Kyle, first game for you. Um, let's start with just the far away. In this game, you're gonna collect various crystals, shards, something like that. Would you guess any game?
Okay. A game where I collect crystals and shards. Wildlands.
No, it's not. All
Okay.
right.
Well, that is a game where you collect crystals and shards.
All right, but let me give you another hint.
Okay.
This game has rolls,
Like
different rolls,
bakery rolls or
like rolls.
oh, okay. Rolls and shards.
Yeah, like crystals or something like that.
Yeah. No, I might need another hint.
All right, this game has two editions.
Hmm. I'm feeling like I'm missing something obvious.
Yeah, people on the chat can also try to guess that. Have a look at the chat. Let me give you the fourth hint. The highest card in this game is 9.
The highest card in this game is 9.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not getting it. Sorry,
Hmm.
I'm blanking.
All right, it's fine. It's really hard, I think, but it has a lot of that red, orange type color,
Red and orange.
kind of like that. Yeah.
It's not this triples game, is it? I haven't played that one.
No, 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 not the tribbles.
Nope, sorry.
It takes
Red
place
and
on a
orange.
certain planet.
Oh, is this Mission Red Planet?
Oh, indeed. Yes.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Congratulations.
I guess all right. I can see what you mean. All right, there we go. Well, it only took me 25 hints.
That's fine. So, what's your um,
All
guess that game?
right. This game has a serious theme treated very lightly.
Uh, what? Serious theme. Like, is it that pooping game, Peculiar non olets, something like that?
No, although that's a very serious theme.
That is a very
But no, it is not Pecunia non olet. This game involves dice.
involves dice. Serious theme.
This game involves dice of 4 different colors.
Oh my god.
I'll say it like that.
Oh, I don't know.
This game involves. Something in this game might make you sit beneath the table.
Um, it's not that Dungeon Twister or something like that. No,
It's not Dungeon Twister. That game doesn't have dice in it at all.
not the Dungeon Twister. Is it? Is it? How was it called? The game where you kind of shoot the dice in the center of the aim.
In the center of the target.
Yeah, it's not that one.
That's yeah, it is that one.
Oh, dungeon, whatever it is, like the dungeon
Dungeon Fighter.
fighter. Sorry. Yes. Yeah.
There you
You,
go.
I knew the game, so I just couldn't get the game. I got get the name. So yeah.
Okay.
Kabuki Kid. It's Dungeon Fighter.
It is
Fuse
Dungeon Fighter.
Flatline. Yeah. Though Fuse. I thought about the Fuse for a moment. Yeah.
Mm,
So all right. That was serious theme. Yeah.
okay.
That's cool. That's cool.
Well,
That was a great
fighting
hint.
monsters in a dungeon is a very serious theme.
Yeah. All right, let's do another one. Let's do my second one. This game has armies or factions, let's say.
Ethnos.
No.
Okay.
All right. These factions they're different. They are asymmetric.
Summoner Wars.
But you're close. Because this game is from Poland,
Hiroshima Hex.
and you're right.
All right.
My fourth hint would be this game has hexes.
Oh,
Because
well, that would definitely get it for me.
another game would be Cry Havoc. You would
That
probably
is
guess.
another game. Well, they have several games that sort of all fit with those things. So they also have Imperial Settlers. All right. So you ready for my second one?
Yes.
This is a role-playing game.
Uh, do another one because I'm lost.
This game involves an air of mystery and uncertainty.
A mystery and sanity. Like a time stories?
No. This game can be played cooperatively or semi-cooperatively, but you don't decide until about midway through.
You mean betrayal?
No,
All
this
right.
game is for two people only.
It's for two people only. It's a role-playing game. Semi or cooperative. I don't know any role players. Huh.
You want another hint?
Yeah.
This game is very romantic.
Oh, Fog of Love. Is it?
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the
Ah,
one.
that's the. Yeah. I know Fog of Love. Yeah. By the way, like that's where like you said cooperative or semi-cooperative. Now I started thinking about like fantasy themed and so on.
Uh-huh, I
The
know. I did that intentionally. But
yeah,
you can win together or not.
yeah. All right. This is for the guess that game segment. I hope it was a little bit fun. But we also have a there is some questions. Let me see. There is that new Hiroshima Hex game with fancy theme, right? There's the Monolith
Yes, there
Arena.
is. It is
Arena.
Monolith Arena. I have a
Yeah.
copy, but I still haven't played it.
Hmm. Yeah. So, and hi there. Just discovered your channel yesterday and watched your reviews about Queen games. Will you bring Counterfeiters review as well? I think I did the Counterfeiters first impressions. Did
I think you
I?
did.
I'm not sure about that,
I know
but
we talked about it, but I don't
yeah,
remember if you did a video.
yeah, because I would definitely say that sorry, I will not do a review of that game because I do remember. Let me see for a moment if I did anything with first impressions about that one because I don't know. To be honest, no, I will not do Counterfeiters review anyway. But maybe I did some first impressions. Maybe, yeah.
Mm.
Because I played it only once. Oh yeah, I did the random unboxing video. I played this game only once, and it was nice, enjoyable, but it had few problems. It was maybe a little bit too straightforward, too streamlined, too linear for my taste. So I was like, huh, let it be. Oh yeah, you watched the. Oh all right. So yeah, sadly no review for that game, but it's not. It's a forgettable one, to be honest. So yeah, but let's go to our most anticipated topic here on this episode, and that's the top 10 games of 2018.
All right.
Good. So I looked at all the games that I played from 2018. Though is Dawn of Peacemakers 2018 game?
I received mine in 2018, but I didn't play it, so I'm going to count it as 19.
Yeah, I don't remember, but I was just
I'm
thinking
I'm
like,
I'm also counting Aeon's End Legacy as a 19 game, even though I had mine in 18. So
mhm. Yeah, there's some games that come so close to the end of the year, so it's really hard to put them on one of the other lists, but they can be on both lists, whatever. Yeah, but all these games that I have, some of them I have played recently, but yeah, I didn't even consider Dawn of Peacemakers on this list. So, but yeah, the Dawn of Peacemakers came out 2018 for the backers. Definitely, I'm not sure how wide is it in retail, something like that, or is it
yeah,
in retail?
I don't know if it
Uh,
is yet.
mm-hmm.
The one game I had to make a tough call on for this list was Dinosaur Island. And I ended up putting it on 17 because we talked about it on our 17 list. Although it came into stores in early 18 and I played it in 18. But that's a 17 game for me, but it would definitely be on the list if I had not made that call.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. So yeah, but in total, I played, let's say I played around 40 titles that categorize into 2018.
Mm.
But I'll just say 40 is not enough because if you know there are thousands of games coming out each year, and out of those 40 games that I've played, I was like, oh, there were quite a few nice, cool games, but there were very few games that was like, oh, I'll definitely put that one into my top 10. You know, it's like
Mm.
there were a few of those games throughout the year, uh, but it wasn't like something amazing. Maybe
Mm.
because I skipped Essen and I didn't get many cool new games because I know that I if I would have gone to Essen, uh, I would have bought quite a few new 2018 titles and played them and so on. But yeah, let it be. Maybe we'll do another one, like a recap episode of 2018 later, where I've played maybe a few others as well. So.
Mm. Well, for me, I had the opposite reaction. I had a very hard time limiting it to just 10. I easily made a list of 20, and I've probably rewritten this list about 5 times with different orderings because the top 3 or 4 games for me were really good. There's a few games that at any point had we done this list would have taken the number one spot. Uh,
Hmm.
I found it was a very good year for games, and some games that I really liked came out this year. So,
Yeah, I mean, there are some games that I mean, this year you could definitely see compared to, like, let's say if we compared it to 2014, this year the quality of games has risen in my opinion. It's better now, at least in my opinion. I mean, like, not the quality. I mean, not only the mechanics. Yeah, some older games are have really cool mechanics, but I mean the whole package as it
mhm.
is. We see many more dual layered boards with cuts in, but it wasn't a thing.
That's true.
And how many games use the black borders now? Very few. Like, most games start to
I can think of one
lose the
game that sure
borders.
does.
Yeah, but most games start to lose those borders on cards. It seems like they've gone so far as to know borders are bad. They get in the way of the artwork. So yeah, let's go. Should
Let's
we?
go.
Shall we? All right. So let's go to number 10. My number 10 is a two-player game from Hurricane Games, and there's another two-player game that I'm waiting for that I did the overview, or like there was a rules explanation and playthrough from the designers themselves. I was talking about the garage, but this game is Carol. And why I put Carol on the list is that I was struggling to put something on number 10 because there are quite a few games that could fit this number 10 spot. They're very, similar on that rating. But Carol, as a two-player game, game is something. I mean, I don't know if it's a unique or totally new idea, but I really like that petrol system where you put the track on the side. Truck, sorry, but you put the truck on the
Truck.
side, and the truck itself has the sand timer, and this is your fuel. And while the fuel runs, you can roll dice as many times as you want, kind of a Yahtzee style, to get your desired results. And but if you run out of fuel completely, you have busted. You're busted on your turn, and that's where you need to fuel up sometimes, and that's another push your luck element. So I really like the push your luck element in that game, and it's just a lighter, kind of a set collection type game, getting points using your items, those special items, the Torek, whatever,
Mm.
tokens. That these tokens are really cool. I like them quite much, and the whole production and the ease of play. Kara, really nice package for a two-player game.
Yeah, I liked it. I played it with you at Gen Con right when you got it. I thought the dice weren't the best quality, but other than that, I think I liked the game. I don't know that I loved it, but you obviously did.
Yeah. So
All right, my
your
number
number 10.
10. My number 10 is probably of the 2018 games my most played game. This is a game that was a hit each and every time I played it. It's a game that I gave to lots of people for Christmas because it's so easy to play, it's so fun to play, and everyone who's played it has loved it. And that is Drop It.
Hmm.
Drop It is this game where you're dropping shapes into this weird vertical slot, and you're trying to make them land in such a way that they don't violate any rules, and so that the higher they up, the more points they will score you. It's really very simple. You can play it in just a few minutes. It's very fast. The rules are super easy. It comes with some wimpy things. If you're not good enough to go full drop it, you can play with some do over tokens. I haven't ever used those. Um, but
Hmm.
it's one that really people see you playing it and come by and say, "Hey, what's this?" I've rarely played it and had somebody not say, "Oh, let's just play that one more time." Even played it on the cruise, and I just think it's a lot of fun.
Hmm. Something I want to try. I've seen it, and I was like, this one looks like something forgettable, but
Oh,
it seems like people really
yeah,
like it. So I
you
I
want to
don't
talk
know.
about a game that demos itself. I mean, that is a game you see it sitting on the table and you say, "What's this?" And you play it and you're like, "This was so much fun." It's not, it's not heavy strategy or anything. You're literally just dropping pieces into a into this tube, but it's not really a tube, but into these slots, and it's just a lot of fun. So
Yeah, that's something I want to try now. This what's the company? Is it easy to get?
it's Cosmos. It's fairly easy to get here. I mean, I it sold out around Christmas time, but I'm sure it'll be back in stock.
Mm-hmm. All right, there's something to
So
play with my colleagues who don't want to play strategic games, probably.
it also works if you only have 10 minutes.
Oh, that's nice.
It's super short.
How many
So
players?
you can play it with two, three, or four, and it works well with all three player counts. It's different with each one because you control different colors. So if you in the two-player game, you've each got two colors, and one of the rules is that colors that the same color, I can't drop a red shape in such a way that it touches anything red. And so if I have two colors, I'm controlling the order in which I drop them in. There's no specific order, but I can sort of make a strategic choice as to whether I want to drop all my pieces of one color early or whether I want to
Mm-hmm.
alternate. In four players, each person has one color, and in three players, you have three shapes of the color that's not being used.
Oh,
And when
nice.
you drop those shapes, can be very key to how well you do.
Yeah. All right. Nice. Really cool. So let's go to number 9. And my number 9 is another recent play, let's say, because I played on the cruise and I really, really like this game. I want to play it again. And that's Underwater Cities.
Mm-hmm.
And Underwater Cities is a, let's say, heavier Euro game where you build those different domes, underwater cities, basically. You build this infrastructure around them, you build the tunnels in order to, connect all the cities between each other and score more points. So basically, it's like a kind of a little bit of that point solid, but not in that felt type way. And the cool part I liked is that with these kind of a worker placement spots, where you put these are like more tokens than workers. I like that there are various actions that are connected to colors as well. And when you play a card, which is the same color as the action on the board that you took, you also take the action on the card itself. And that's really cool combination. I really like that, how you combine, like sometimes you look at your cards and you're like, I really want to get this yellow action on the board, but I have only red cards. So what red action should I take to benefit much more, Because I really want to play
Mm-hmm.
this red cards ability, as well. And some cards have costs and some not. It's very tight. It's very interesting resource management as a
It
whole,
is.
and card management and worker spots management, I would say.
Yeah.
And I would say the production isn't good, but the how it looks itself as a game looks appealing. Those domes and everything like those tunnels.
Mm-hmm.
it kind of feels like you're building up, and I love building in games. I love building on the stuff. So this one just hits the sweet spot for my kind of a Euro game. That's
Mhm.
Underwater
Yeah,
Cities.
it's a fantastic game. It was, I like that particular designer. I've liked almost everything he's done. I might talk about it a little bit more later, but I find
You
Underwater
might.
Cities to be just a fantastic game.
Yeah. All right. You're number 9.
All right, my number nine is a game that I like a lot. And the only reason it's a little bit lower is because it's a little rules heavy and it's kind of ugly looking. But I really enjoy it. I played it lots of times. I've played it with various people with various results. Some people loved it, some people hated it.
Hmm.
Very Euro-y game. This is Teotihuacan,
Teotihuacan.
and it's a great game. You're sort of, you've got these dice, and the dice are your workers, and you're moving them around a track. You can move each one, two, or three spaces, and then based upon the die value, you'll get a different action. Based on how many things are at the spot you visit, that's how many. Uh, that's how much you have to pay, and then your dice will increase in value, and eventually they get to be where they're a six. But the six, instead of going on the board, it just triggers another special action. It's a lot of fun. You've got a bunch of different variants. You can mix up the special powers that are available, the technologies, the bonuses, and you're just trying to pick something to work on and exploit it. And I like games like that. I played it on the cruise with my brother. He wasn't a big fan of it, but then again, he doesn't really like those sort of. It's a little on the drier side.
Hmm.
It's kind of a more advanced version of Tolkien without the weird gear. But I think it's a great game, and I definitely enjoy it. It is my number nine.
All right. So that's something I haven't tried, but because the way
I
how it
don't know if
looks,
you'd love it. Yeah.
yeah, it looks really really dry. But maybe I know I recently or this year, let's say, I had the desire to try Tolkien.
Mhm.
So maybe.
Well, I love Tolkien as well. I mean, I don't know which. I think I like this one better. I think it's a better game overall, but I really like both of them, so I can't say. And I like everything that that designer does, so
Yep.
it was an easy pick for me.
All right. Let's go to number 8. And my number eight is a game that when I saw the cover of that game, I was enamored, and that's Rise of Tribes. And we did a preview of that game a long time ago when before it was on Kickstarter. So basically for the Kickstarter itself. And we like the game. So Rise of Tribes is a civilization building game, but you need to get to certain points and you win the game. And it's on a very light side. It's the area control is very light. You basically compare the meeples, and so you take the meeples one by one until if you have more, then more of your meeples are left, and you win this area, and you collect those different resources from those different terrains, and you use dice in order to do those actions. And sometimes you get the kind of a minor action, sometimes major actions, because what I mean is that you get better um, or worse action as it is. I mean, like you either get a I don't remember exactly the actions themselves, but you either get a lot of that action or you get just a little.
Hmm.
That's the whole thing. And I have the deluxe copy with the wooden things and so on. So really nice pieces. And the game itself, it's self-explanatory. It's streamlined. It's just a nice package for a kind of a fast civilization building game. And I like the technologies as well, how they work in a very easy manner. So just when you put it on the table, it just shines. People just come and want to ask about the game.
I would say that it shines if you have the deluxe version. The resource, I think if you have the non-deluxe version with those little square chits for the resources, it really takes it down a notch.
Yeah,
I enjoy the game. I like it a lot. I think I have had better times with it than anybody else has that I played with. It's never quite gone over super well with people when I brought it out. But I really like that sort of where you roll the dice and you make some actions better, some actions worse based on where you put the dice
Yeah, sun
in that
or
row,
moon. Yeah,
the sun or the moon or the neutral. And I had a lot of fun with it. I just wish that other people had as much fun with it as I did.
yeah. The only thing is that what I feel is like you should never say that, oh, we're gonna play a civilization game. Nah, it's not. It's a streamlined kind of a Euro type, little bit of
Race
manufacturing
game.
race game. Let's say yes, race to points, and I
Hmm.
would say it's civilization themed game. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's not a civilization game as it is. So it's my number eight, Rise of Tribes. Oh,
All
your
right.
number eight.
My number eight is a game that came out just at the end of the year. I think I played it. I think my first play was just right between Christmas and New Year's, but it just barely squeaked in. It's it's a very simple game, but really looks great. It is called Crusaders Thy Will Be Done.
Something I'm waiting for. I think it's somebody called me already that it's in Estonia.
Oh, okay.
I might
Well,
get it very soon.
mine is not in Estonia. Mine's right here. You've got it's two to four players. You each play a different knight order that are crusaders, and you're running through Eastern Europe really, and killing all the Slavic people and the Slavic people and the Prussians. But the theme doesn't really come through as well as fortunately, because that's not the best theme. But you're really kind of building up your empire, building up your structures. And what you've got is this wedge, and it's a rondel, and each action has, each wedge is assigned to an action, or you can upgrade it and make it two actions. And you've got these discs, and you sort of move them around, almost Mancala like, and take the different actions, and they get stronger, and you can upgrade
Hmm.
them. And as you build buildings, they give you more bonuses that make other things faster. And it's really, you play, the game has a certain number of points. Like I think for two players, it was 140 points. And once they're gone, that's the end game trigger. And there's a little bit of sort of majority for who killed the most of the different enemies. And you get points based upon which of the different buildings you build. And you can kind of pick at the start, like, I'm going to make this action really good. I want to build everything. And so you go and you build a lot of the banks. Or I want to recruit all my soldiers. And so you build a lot of the farms. Or I want to get a ton of points every time I do this influence action, which is on pretty much almost all of the upgraded sides of the things. And it's the most boring action. You just get points.
Hmm.
But if you build it upright, you can get, you can just sort of drain the points out of that bank, because once there's only 140 of them in there in a two-player game. And so if you get, more than 70 of them, you're likely to win unless the other person has some end game scoring. It's really fast, it's really simple, and it's really clean, and it looks great. There's really nothing extra in there. And it's just a very well designed game.
So your number eight is
Crusaders Thy Will Be Done.
good. Yeah. Oh, it just always end with that.
Yep.
So yeah, Crusaders, they will be done. I heard it's a rondel within a rondel, something like that. And I talked to Seth Jaffe, the designer of the game, a long time ago about this one, when he had the interview with him, and he also showed us some very early stuff that nobody saw, but under the
Oh,
circumstances that we would never show it to anyone. Not, I mean, never, but at that point, we
okay.
wouldn't show it. So somewhere in my email, so I saw some early artwork and so on. So that was nice. So, but I also pre-ordered. I would say pre-ordered, kickstarted it. So I'm gonna get my copy soon. I hope so. Yeah.
Well, hopefully you'll like it. It works. I think you'll be able to teach it to your friends, because it's pretty straightforward once you get into it, but there's a lot of things you can do with the system once you're inside.
Yeah, I really hope for a good game there because said Jeff does good games.
He does.
So my number seven. Let's go to number seven now. My number seven is a lighter game, and it's very light game, but there are some elements that I love in games, and that's the Green Forest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and somebody would say like that kind of a light game. Green Forest is number seven. It is because first of all, I mean, like, let's take a look at the production. I have the Kickstarter copy. I don't know how much the Kickstarter copy is different from the retail copy. Not that much. I mean, like the production itself with the miniatures and so on is still there. maybe probably a few extra cards or maybe a miniature or two for first player token and so on, which is not so necessary. But you're basically like three pigs. You're building those houses, three different shaped and three different houses with three different materials, and that's all nice, and you go to different spots, you get those resources. But what I like about those kinds of games is that outguessing, outsmarting, where you simultaneously choose a location, then you reveal, and you see if you go there together, you have to share resources. If you go alone, you get all the resources by yourself, and it's like the outguessing game, which I really really like about such games. But that's this game is it's like, let's say, Mission Red Planet is also similar, where you're trying to guess where others are going. That is in my top 10 of all time. What makes this game really really cool is not just the simple outguessing, but those fable cards, those friend cards, those special abilities. That's where you boost your turns. If you go to a location and you play a fable card with it, you kind of you're going to change the rules, you're going to change the play itself, and maybe somebody else plays the fable card and they're going to change it on their turn. And that, I mean, like, it becomes rather asymmetric in the way of how you change the different locations rules. And also those friend cards, when you get those really really cool special abilities, really. And this game is very streamlined, and those special abilities are really easy to follow. And when you get a new friend, you can give it to another player instead of giving to yourself, thus getting them to discard their previous friends. And sometimes you're like, oh, this is a nice ability, but their previous ability is so strong and so against my strategy or whatever, that I'm gonna give them that new friend. And that's where the game shines as well. So the whole production, the whole package, it's just such a beautiful game. Sometimes I just want to sit down, set up a really beautiful game, and while I play it, I want to have a very streamlined, very easy play. That's what it is. And just look at the game and make some great pictures, and just kind of a look at at the painting or something like that.
Yeah.
I want to have these kinds of games sometimes on my table that look just amazing, great. So yeah, my number 7, The Green Forest.
Yeah, I like the Grim Forest. I think it may be a little bit overproduced. I might have to try it
Yeah.
again though. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I don't know that it. I almost forgot about it when we talked. I mean, when I think about the games I played this year. So, I mean, it's good. I agree with what you said. I just don't. It doesn't quite do it for me.
Just one of my favorite mechanics over there, so
Yeah,
that's where
I
it
understand.
does an extra for me. Yeah.
Okay. Well, number 7 for me is a game that is based on an IP that I like. I am a large fan of Brandon Sanderson books. I think I've read them all,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
other than The Wheel of Time, which are not, his original thing. This is The Reckoners.
Mm-hmm.
Reckoners is this super villain game. It is from Navu Games, came out this year. Definitely not a small game. Big, big box, big production. Uh, Challenging fight. It's I've only played it with, I think I played it with 2 and 3. I've not played it with the higher player counts, but
Mm-hmm.
you're a team of regular people with no special abilities. Well, arguably most of them with no special abilities, who are going after some sort of an evil supervillain, and you've got to find out his weakness, and you've got to take him down before he wipes out everybody in the city. I just, it's a game where I play it, I set it up, I play it, and people I played it with have said, well, let's try that one again. It's sort of a dice allocation game. You almost sort of a Yahtzee type mechanism. You roll dice. You're trying to get the right faces. Each player has a different color die that they specialize in, and those dice are better in certain kinds of actions. It's um, it's a fun game. It doesn't take that long. I've won it a few times. I've lost it a lot more. I've only ever won it on the most easy level. As soon as I go up even one level of difficulty, it becomes just a little too hard for me to
Mm-hmm.
win. But usually it's close. Usually I'm within a turn or two, one way or the other. And that's I think the right difficulty level for this kind of game. I think it does a good job at embodying the story. If
Mm-hmm.
you didn't already like the Reckoners series, then this might make you want to go out and read Steelheart. So I think it's a great game. It is my number 7, The Reckoners.
Oh, it's nice because I have Blood Records, but it's something I want to try out at some point. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe in the future. So let's go to number 6 now, and my number 6 is a heavier game, and that's a I don't know if it's the only 4X game that I've played so far. I don't know what to consider a 4X game at some point. You know, some games
It's a
are
game about exchange, right?
exchange.
Forex, like the foreign exchange.
Yeah, yeah,
Sorry.
4X.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
that's the one.
joke.
Yeah, but my number 6 is Empires of the Void, second edition, let's say, because the it's very different from the first edition. So it's totally a separate game, in my opinion. So in this game, you control a faction, and there's a lot of going on, and you visit various planets. You know, you can either get them by force, thus getting few things, or you can just influence them, thus getting some other things on that planet. You know, and you're fighting each other as well. The cool part is that you can hire at a certain point when you get those planets, you can hire units from those planets, and those units are better than your own initial units. And there's that nice economy, and there's that a little bit of that scythe vibe, where you buy tokens from your board, or you buy like cities and bases or whatever, and you get them from there, thus getting better actions. So you kind of boost your actions with that, but you have to pay more. But then you're getting the resources, and you start the tracks of resources in order to get things cheaper. So you kind of manage that kind of one of your tracks in order to make it cheaper and make the actions better. And it reminds me of Scythe as well. And I like the technology tree, which is not the technology tree as it is there, but you're also using resources. So the resources are kind of the central point of your own engine building within your own board, where you gather those resources and you put those resources on those technologies as well, thus opening those technologies, and which give you nice special abilities. So I wouldn't say there's a huge technology tree. It's more like and all of that resource management itself
Yeah.
on your own board, and a little bit of economy and those different cards, which are missions. So you kind of have this pick up and deliver thing going on there as well, a little bit, which I like. So the whole package looks amazing. I have the Kickstarter copy. I don't know how much is it different from the it's different from the retail copy, but yeah, once again, great production, great art. This game looks amazing. This game plays for a long period of time, but it's something I shouldn't enjoy. But I kickstarted this game because I believed in Red Raven Games and Ryan Lockett's, and this is a 4X game for me. This doesn't feel like Twilight Imperium 4 type 4X game. This one feels lighter, but still a ton of things going on. It's a ton of rules. Just this nice Ryan Lockett vibe to it. It just feels Ryan Lockett. So Empires of the Void 2,
Mhm.
my number 6.
Well, I have those games I really want to play. I played Empires of the Void 1, still have it, liked it a lot back in the day. And I have the new one, but I think we talked about this before. The rule book was rather large, and I just never got it to the table. So it's one that's still waiting for me. So
Yeah. All right. So your
all right,
number 6?
my number 6 is a large game by anyone's estimation, and it is a game. I played it again on the cruise. I played it at the beginning of the year, had such a great time with it, and then kind of put it away for a while just because it was so big, and played it again with my brother and with Victor on the cruise, and that is Rising Sun.
Hmm.
Rising Sun is, of course, a game that really needs no introduction. Many people have heard of it.
Yeah.
Large game, big fancy figures, lots of special abilities, different clans. There's some negotiation, although the way that I prefer to play it, there's not too much. I'm not really. I think that's a different game for different people. You could put it in there, but I enjoy just playing it, just sort of trying to do what you want, trying to buy and customize the best set of special abilities just for you, of forming an alliance and breaking it at the right moment, of trying to win those battles and manipulate yourself into a way that you're in the right position at the right time to sort of come out on top.
Hmm.
It's not complicated. It's not a hard game. There's a lot of rules, but they're not hard rules. They're fairly intuitive once you get to it. The combat system is a lot of fun. It feels almost like Cry Havoc's combat system, where you're sort of bidding on on different actions, although you're doing this blind, and whoever wins the action gets some bonus. There's a way where if you think you're going to lose, you can bet heavily on one of the on essentially both ends of this battle sheet and get a lot of points from both sides of that. It's a game that I would really love to explore more, and it does not hurt that it looks great.
Yeah.
So my number six, Rising Sun.
All right. Let's go to number five. So, my number five is a game that I kickstarted, but I wasn't sure about this game. It just looked, interesting, and that's Off the Rails. And when I played this game, it was a total surprise. Off the Rails is a nice light game where you build those different rail tracks, and you have those cards, and you just put those cards on the rails and you collect crystals, and you try to collect them until the mine collapses. And it has a little bit of push your luck element, and it has cool mechanic of bumping into each other, and then so the cards turn around, or you lose your crystals, because you need to, while you are on the rails, you collect those crystals and you collect them into your cards, and you have limited amount of space in your card, and you need to kind of get the way back out of the boards in order to get those crystals into your scoring behind your scoring sheet. And that's really, really nice. That's where it shines. It's extremely simple. It plays great with four players because it has a little bit more chaos. So it's kind of a, that's where the chaos really brings more fun into the game itself. Just bumping into each other, trying to build those rails. I don't know why I love it so much, but I love it. It's such, maybe because it was such a surprise for me, because I don't really like how it looks that much. It's like the purple,
Mm-hmm.
but those different dice that give you those speeds, so you can increase your speed of that. And yeah, I just a
Yeah,
great game, off the rails.
I have no comments on this one. I have not played it, so we'll have to look it up.
You should. Really fun game.
All right, my number five is definitely my second most played of the 2018 games. This is a game that I bought on a whim back when I was ordering a bunch of things from Germany because it kept coming up in my recommended list. And a big hit once it came out in English toward the end of the year. This was Die Quacksalber von Quedlinburg. This is this game where you're won the Kennerspiel des Jahres award this year. It's a game where you've got a bag of ingredients, you're pulling them out randomly and trying to put them in your cauldron and get as far as you can down this track and stop before you get too many of the bad ones, these white ones. If they reach a value of more than 7, then you explode. You have to stop. A little bit of push your luck, a little bit of strategic bag building. I mean, you can buy every round buy certain different additions to your bag that can sort of dilute the bad stuff and maybe help you get a little bit farther down the road. It's a lot of fun. It's super fast. Play is mostly simultaneous. And, because I had the only copy around here for a while and because it was in German, anyone who wanted to play it with me, wanted to play it, really had to play it with me. So I got it to the table a ton. And I've never had a bad experience with it. It's a lot of fun. My number five, Die Quacksalber von Quedlinburg.
Hmm. Something I have not played because German type heroes, but maybe something I will
Oh,
enjoy.
not German type Euro. This one is definitely not dry. It's more of a push your luck game than anything else.
Oh,
It's like push your luck Orleans.
then
So
that sounds much better. So something
Yeah,
I should try then.
it definitely does not fit the mold of a dry Euro Teo to work on. It's I think you would probably like it. I don't know that you would love it, but
Yeah.
your friends probably would.
Hmm.
And that's kind of how I feel about it. It's a game that I might not love as much as my friends do, but because people I know love it, I play it a lot and I always have a great time.
Hmm. That's really nice. So, all right, let's go to number four. And my number four is very recent play, but I just liked it so much, and I already talked about it during this episode. And that's Detective, the modern crime board game. You must say it like that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so Detective, as I told you already in my recent plays, you're playing those investigators and you're trying to solve the crime. And lately, I've been really enjoying adventurous games. I want to get more theme from games lately because there's so many games out there, and I just want to get great experiences. And that's where the escape room games came in, where time stories came in, and so on. All those choose your own adventure games came in that I enjoy more and more and more. And some Euro games that give me that story and campaign modes and such, legacy games. It feels like the world of board games is going towards that more adventurous, more storytelling games right now, and that's what I enjoy. And Detective gives me a ton of that. It just while we were playing this game, we were totally thinking about how to solve the crime and not, oh, this is your turn and not your turn. There are no turns. You're
Mm-hmm.
just in it 100%. And you're only thinking like, oh, what should we do now? Where do we get the information? And so on. It's just, I don't want to spoil much, so just try it for yourself. So, really great experience. Detective, as you can see, I played it very recently and just skyrocketed in my top 10 of 2018.
Well, it certainly looks interesting, and I hope I'll get a chance to play it someday, and then I will have some
Try it
comments to
solo.
give you.
Yeah, try it
I
solo.
might try it solo. I mean, while Victor's here, I might try and pull him in, but it might be a bit much. I don't know if it'll be too much for him. So
Yeah, you should definitely reserve 3 hours, something like that. 4
yeah,
hours.
well,
It's
in that
brain
case,
burning.
it might end up being solo because I've put him through enough campaign games
But I mean,
recently.
like, you can play each separately, but just there's
Mhm.
there are some cards that are like it's not a spoil, like plot
Yeah,
cards
yeah.
that you get throughout the case that you put into those different future cases that you're
Hmm.
gonna read as you get to those future cases
Yeah,
and the overarching story. But it's just a very brain burning game as well.
yeah. Well, I'll look forward to trying it someday.
Hmm. So, your number four?
All right, my number four is a game that, if it weren't so hard to teach, would probably be higher. This is a fantastic little asymmetric game. It's called Root. You've got six different factions, each with its own separate set of rules, and you're just trying to get, to 30 points. But each faction has its own way of scoring points. You can play with, there's one faction that just wants to build stuff. If you want to be a Euro gamer, you can go and build everything you want and get points for building it. There's another faction which might be I played with it on the cruise, and it's definitely one of the most fun ones. And all he does is he sells his own services. He doesn't care about getting points on his own. He wants to help everybody else. It's these beavers. There's this raccoon that goes around and sort of helps and hurts other people. There's the birds, which have their sort of
Hmm.
programming aspect. There's the lizards, which I also really enjoy, which are super slow, and everybody sort of controls what they're going to do. But then in the end, once they've laid all their foundations, they can just get a whole bunch of points all at once. It's a pretty looking game. It's not super long, although that really depends on whether you know how to play it or not. It's a very rough game to teach because you're essentially teaching several different games. Very nice asymmetry, which I love, but also it's difficult to keep track of everything that's going on. And if you're playing with people on the cruise, I played with three people who had not played it before, or no, two people who had not played it and one who hadn't played it for a while, And that was a lot to keep track of as the teacher, because then I had to make sure that each person, essentially you're kind of putting yourself briefly in each person's role to make sure that they understand the rules, and that's a lot of work. So that's why
Yeah.
it's only my number four. But I've always enjoyed it every time I played it, except the time I played it solo. It is not a great solo game. So
Hmm.
it has a solo, in the expansion you get solo rules, but they're not great. So other than solo, Root is great.
Yeah, that's where I feel like I don't know where I'm gonna get it to the table. I have the game. I have it from Kickstarter, and it just learning it yourself, learning all the factions, and then teaching all of that. I'm just not like I'm afraid of that, but kinda, it feels
Mm-hmm.
like I would definitely not, or maybe I will play with some of my colleagues who are into gaming overly. People who have played video games, they
Yeah.
get video board games better, but I'm
Don't
just afraid a little
overdo
bit.
it. Teach one or two new players max. You might even, sit somebody down and say, look, you and I are going to play, and you play the cats and the other person plays the birds, so that the other person then knows that faction. And then after both of you know something, move in a third one. You want to teach it piecemeal, because with a lot of new people, it's going to be slow and no one's really going to know what's going on.
Hmm.
And it's not going to be a great experience. Uh,
Yeah,
but I think it's a lot of fun if you can teach people to play it. So it's a lot of work, but there's also a
yeah,
lot of payoff.
yeah. It's like with Scythe. I basically showed it to some folks who are not into games, and they played this kind of a strategic game for the first time. So I think, I don't know, my my colleagues from work are quite smart. So if they can go through Rising Sun and Scythe
Yep.
as their first strategic games, maybe Root will
Well,
be enough as well.
maybe they'll love it, and it
Yeah,
does. Again, it doesn't hurt that it's adorable. So
yeah, indeed, looks great. So, all right, let's go to number three now. And my number three is a game that I have played on the cruise as well, but I played it before. I have done a review of that as well, and that's Wildlands. And
hmm
at some point when I considered my top 10 of 2018, Wildlands was, I think, was it on my, maybe it was on my list. Maybe it was like number 10 or 9. But once I played it more on the cruise, I kind of each time I played it, I liked it more and more. This game just rewards continuous plays, because you're gonna play the same factions, so various factions. You're gonna explore the game. You want to play those various factions because you want to see how you can counter those factions and how you can play efficiently with those factions. But in this game, it's basically a skirmish type, like PvP game, where you collect your own shards and you try to kill each other on that map. It's extremely streamlined and simple game where you just roam around, and easy line of sight, and you use it's a Martin Wallace game, by the way, who is heavy designer. Yeah, his new edition of Brass came out recently that I haven't played yet. It's rather heavy game compared to Wildlands. I'm sure of that because I know that Brass is a heavy Euro game. So Wildlands is quite streamlined and easy, and you use those cards that are multi-use cards, and you match the icons of your characters with those cards. Basically, you can use each card for one thing, and that's where you try to manage your cards as efficiently as possible. You have those special cards where you can draw more cards or interrupt. You can basically interrupt other players' turns in order to do your turn out of your turn, and then it goes back to that initial player, and then they can continue. So kind of, it's like a reaction counter reaction, that kind of a
hmm
thing, which makes this game really nice. And just the whole production, the whole beauty of the game, this package is just so much fun. But it's much more fun if you play it more and more and more. This game rewards continuous plays, just like Summer
Yeah.
Wars, basically. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's that.
So I've played Wildlands one time. I need to give it another try. I did not like my first play. I was so excited about it, and I was so disappointed by it after I played it. I found that it had some problems, but again, I only played it with two. I think I need to play it with more. I think as a two-player game, it fell very flat.
Oh
My
yes.
biggest problem, my biggest problem was that it was is that the models do not look like their pictures, and so it was difficult to
Yeah.
say which figure was where, and it was always I was constantly trying to figure out, whose piece is, which character is this and which character of mine is here. And I just wish there were a way to kind of imprint those symbols on the models and make it a little bit more usable. So that was my other thing. My third problem with it is that the numbers are kind of on the random system on the board. Like, you've got the 28 is not very close to the 27. Sometimes they're close to each other, and then sometimes it's just all the way over here. So I don't know who was drunk when he was numbering the board. Uh, but so those are
I
my
get the numbers,
problems.
by the way. I
Well,
figured out the system. I don't remember exactly what it is, but I
well,
figured out the system. So
well, the fact that you had to figure out the system, I think, says something for it. But I will give it another try. I want to give it another try with three or four, and figure out some way around that problem with knowing which figure is which. Again, I really want to like the game. And so it was really disappointing for me when I didn't love it when I played it.
yeah, that's where I would say that's where those continuous plays really help you out because you're gonna look past all of those minor things. You will be fine with the miniatures, totally fine. You'll be fine with the numbers. It's like it just those problems go away after
Maybe,
2 or 3 more plays. That I'm
maybe.
surely I had those
I
same
just hope
problems.
I just hope that I get those two or three more plays with more people, and I hope that the problems don't bury it
Yeah,
for the people that I would play with, and I worry that they might.
yeah, I love it best with 4 players because it has a lot of interaction then, and that's where it shines. PvP style. With 2 players, it's uh, I would say don't play with 2 players. 3 players is totally
Yeah,
it's also fine, but 4 players it's the best one. It's like that's where this game shines.
mm, yeah. All right. Well, I will give it another try, but with two, it fell totally flat. So, all right.
Yeah.
My number three is a Euro game. It is a game that I was really excited for at Gen Con. And at Gen Con, it was there, but then it took a while to come into stores after that. I wish I'd picked up a copy at Gen Con. Bright, colorful game. It's sort of a dice drafting and use game. This game is called Coimbra.
Hmm.
And in this game, it's the theme is sort of barely there, but you've got you roll some dice, and each you're going to take these dice, and you're drafting them first for their number, and the number is going to give you sort of your pick of these sets of cards, and also set the price for the cards. The higher the number, the earlier you'll go normally, but the more you
Hmm.
have to pay. And then after you've done that, you get these cards, and you sort of increase your stats on these tracks, and then you're going to use the color of the die for different kinds of income. There's four different kinds of income. One is this. There's two kinds of money. There's these shields, and there's these coins, and then there's a track about moving around the board, and then there's a track about scoring just straight points. And it's pretty easy to get into once you're there. The rules aren't super complicated. The symbols on the cards take a little bit of getting used to, but once you do that, you're good to go. It plays fast. I've played it with two, three, and four, and never really had it slow down. I found that the plays are pretty tight. I found that you can experiment and do different things. Do you want to go on all these expeditions around this board? Do you want to save your money and work on these end game scoring tracks? Very much a Euro game,
Hmm.
but it looks good. The artwork is sort of bright and vibrant. The colors are attractive, and I've really always enjoyed it every time I played it. They had a small mini expansion, the Royal Treatment, which I got but haven't played with yet. But it has a little dice box that you can kind of throw the dice into if you want, a dice tray. I had a great time with it, and I really always enjoy my plays of Coimbra. My
Hmm.
number three.
All right. So let's go to. I haven't played Coimbra, so I cannot really comment on that. And I don't think I really want to play it because it doesn't look Tasty. Anyway, let's go to number two. And my number two is a game we already talked about, and that's Rising Sun. And all the things you said. Plus, I just really like, kind of also it's building up, but within your own faction. I really like the difference with Blood Rage is you have your own faction's ability from the start. But the other cool part that I like from Blood Rage and so on was the difference not that big is that you customize yourself throughout the game and eventually
Mm-hmm.
become very different. And it's kind of like engine building to me. And that's what I like, adore about this game. And all those political mandates and basically those actions that you choose, and everyone gets that action. You get it in a better fashion if you choose it yourself. It just and you can form alliances in order to get those bonuses and so on. It's just the whole package. I have the Kickstarter copy, now I have the insert as well. So just the whole package looks really nice, and you definitely need a player mat, by the way, because with player mat it's great. With just a
The
small
playmat,
board,
you mean? Mm-hmm.
playmat. Sorry, another player mat, playmat.
Which is
Yeah,
huge.
yeah, but that's
Good luck
like
storing it. But
yeah, but that's where this game kind of it shines because it's a area
yeah.
control game with
Mm-hmm.
cool, huge monsters and lots of troops and so on. I have all the plastic pieces as well, so it kind of adds to my enjoyment because I have the Kickstarter edition of that with the plastic pieces and lots of extra stuff. All the
Yeah.
exclusives and expansions, whatever. But
Well,
it's a rather smooth game, to be honest,
yes,
for
it is.
that kind of a big game. And I just the whole production, the whole thing, the whole theme, the package itself just works for me
Oh
in the
yeah.
best possible way.
Well, I love it. I told you it was my number six, I guess. And like I said, I got the Kickstarter version. I bought everything through the Kickstarter, and then I liked it so much that I found a painted set online that somebody had painted all the figures, and I bought that, and I bought the big broken token crate, the nice stained one, and I then sold my original one back on eBay to try and make some of the money back from the painted set that I bought because I didn't need to.
Yeah,
But I drank that Kool-Aid hard, and I'm glad the game is as good as it is. Otherwise, I would have been really disappointed.
yeah. So I was,
Although, to be clear, I spent all the money on the painted set after I already knew that I liked the game.
yeah, but yeah, I was like, when I got this game from Kickstarter, I paid a ton of money for that game. It's like if you pay over $200 and the game falls flat, then it's like,
That's very sad.
whoops. Yeah, it is. So that's where I was like, oh, this game must be amazing. And when I played it, it was amazing. I really, really
Yep.
loved it. And by the way, just a small comment from the chat is that you say that Costello is fun, but the box insert was pointless. And I like how you
Oh my
comment.
goodness.
I like how you comment amazing, but I had to throw it away. The insert, not the game. Like
Yeah,
you
Castell. Yeah.
specify.
Well, you know the. I don't know if you've seen the insert. I mean, in Castell, you dump all these tiles into a bag and you pull them out of the bag, but the insert has spots for each different number value of tile, and you're never going to store them like that. You're just always going to store them in this bag, and the bag is huge anyway. I like Castell, but it had some. I don't
Yeah.
know. Somebody spent a lot of time designing an insert for it that will never be used. I tried sorting it, and then I was like, this was pointless, and I just threw it away and dumped everything in the bag. So anyway,
All right, let's go to back to the
all
top.
right.
Number two.
My number two game is a game that I have played lots of times. It's fast. It is a game, it's one of those blind buys where sometimes I buy something randomly. I remember I was on Board Game Geek one day and I saw an ad and it said copies in stock shipping now. And I
Hmm.
went and I looked at it and it said there was a deluxe version. And I said, okay, I'm going to buy that. And when it showed up, I was nervous because I didn't know anything about it, but I was so glad when it was amazing. And that game is Vindication.
Hmm.
Vindication is a game, I mean, some people might describe it as an RPG element to it, but that's not true. It's a Euro game. It's a Euro game disguise. Essentially, you start off on this island, you go around and explore, and you're trying to develop a way to get points more quickly than anyone else. Eventually, you're going to come to these end game scoring goals. You know, there's sort of end game triggers, and you're trying to accomplish them. But the ways you go about doing it are going to be all the way up to you. You buy the big box, and it has a bunch of different expansions you can use, including the deluxe one has all these miniatures in it that are not used in the game at all. Even, I mean, it's just kind of pointless miniatures, but the game is a lot of fun, and the game is super fast. It's, you know, maybe 20 minutes per player, maybe 30. It's a great two-player game, great three, great four. Haven't played with more than that, probably won't. But really, you're just picking the path you want to go down and trying to maximize it. And the theme is kind of barely there,
It's
but I don't
loose.
care because it's a lot of fun. The journey is so much fun, and the different ways you can kind of go through it are just a lot of fun. And I've played with several of the different modules you can throw in, and they're all really good. And again, it doesn't hurt that the game is good looking.
Hmm.
The rules are pretty straightforward. The rule book is quite long, but most of it's examples and explanations of all the different tiles and cards in case you ever have a question. But I've never really had a question. And I've just really enjoyed every play of Vindication. So I'm glad that my choice to buy it randomly was vindicated. See what I did there?
Yeah. So is it really is it really a 2018 game?
Yeah, I got
Uh,
it in November 2018.
all right. Maybe it is. Maybe I looked at I think I considered this one. Oh yes,
Well,
yes, yes. It's on my
there's a
list.
Kickstarter now for the expansion, but
Is it now?
yeah, it's on right now.
Do they offer
But
the
you can get the base game too.
hmm So yeah, because I played on the cruise, and I told you that that's one of those games that went into my must-have
Hmm.
list. Why I didn't consider it into my top 10 of 2018 is because I played only once, and I kind of felt like I would have maybe added few modules to make it more
Hmm.
enjoyable for me. But I see a ton of potential. I see like playing it more and getting much more fun out of that. But just after one play, I couldn't get so much fun, but I felt a ton of potential. So
Yeah. Well,
I'm sure I'm
there
gonna
you go.
like it more. All right, so let's go to the final number one. All right, so my number one is another deduction game, and that might be a surprise that it's so high on my list, but that's maybe because I played it more than quite a few other games on my list, and that's Chronicles of Crime.
Mm.
And also, Chronicles of Crime, that's where you use I have the VR glasses as well, but that's the game that uses the app. And the only nuisance about the game is that you have to scan a ton of things, and eventually you get a little bit tired if you play the game a lot. You get a little bit tired with scanning, but just it's such a minor thing because this game just shines. It's You just pull it out. Like, let's say that there are new players, you just pull it out, start playing. The game will explain itself as you're playing. You basically don't have to explain the rules at all. I mean,
Hmm.
I did that and worked perfectly fine. And 10 minutes in, the players were discussing, oh, right, that's the plot. Oh, should we do this one? Should we go to that location, ask her because she probably know that, and then go to him, or then do the autopsy? The players get so fast into the game, even the new players that haven't read the rules and don't know the rules, you don't even have to explain it. And then they get the experience of the VR set as well, where they put it like, oh, wow, I see the crime scene, that
Yeah.
kind of thing. And you look at them and you look at them, it's a little bit stupid thing when you look at them, they're looking like that, and they have a wow moment over there. You looking at them that they're acting weirdly, but that's so much fun. This game just gave me. It's an experience. It's at some point it's just more like an experience than the game,
Yeah, I agree.
but it gave me so much fun. And each time I'm in the game, 1.5 hours per scenario, by the way, goes like that. Eventually, like, boom, we're finished. We found everything, but like the answers, or we didn't get all the answers, so we're gonna see. And then we're like, 1.5 hours gone. Cool. Wow. We didn't even notice that. And also the cool part is that where you once you're finished, you see the answers, and then you start discussing. Oh, that's why. Oh, this thing. Ah, yeah. Oh, that's. And the aftermath of this game is also great. It's kind of the game continues after it has been finished,
Hmm.
and just the whole activity, the whole thing as Chronicles of Crimes, it just shines amazingly, and it's so easy. Though I have the expansion boxes as well that are not out yet. They're gonna be out this week. The Noir, I think,
Yeah.
no, Noir expansion will be out this week, and that's where I like how they can fix the typos, they can fix the things through the app. Yes, it uses the app and uses the internet. I mean, eventually, the to update the app, but that's
Hmm.
where they can put in the expansions so cheap. Even with the boxes, they just throw into cards. The expansions will be cheap. Buying new scenarios in the app will be rather cheap. I I don't know. This whole package just works. This is a great
Yeah.
system. Great system, in my opinion.
I agree. I enjoy it a lot. I think the VR thing is a good way to do it because it doesn't feel like a gimmick in it. I found that it was quite immersive and quite enjoyable. I like the game a
Sorry.
lot. I feel it's. I agree with you. It's almost more experience than game. There aren't really even a ton of rules, but I had a good time with it. Since we're talking about it, I might have to show it to my friend while he's here visiting. I think it's a great game, so I can agree with that.
All right, not on your list.
Not on my list. It was easily within the top 20, but I don't think
Mm-hmm.
it didn't quite crack my top
Yeah.
10. And I don't think it would have been my number 11. My number 11 was Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, if you're wondering. But uh, so my number one is going to surprise no one since we talked about it already today. That's Summoner Wars.
Yeah.
No, no. My number one is Underwater Cities.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Game I
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I loved Pulsar last year, and I love this one this year. They're not the same game at all. This is a great game to sort of figure out how you're going to go about it. And the decisions you're making are, I have these cards, but I want to do these actions. And, am I willing to forego this benefit that I
Mm-hmm.
really want for this thing that I really need?
Yeah.
And the components are okay. I had to sleeve my cards and I laminated the boards because I was worried that they would get torn.
Yeah.
But it's fun to play though, and it's different than anything else. There's not really another game that quite gets there, and it's a good worker placement game. It's a good card and hand management game. The symbols and icons are really easy to use. The cards, they give you everything with symbol, then there's a lot of art, and then there's a little text, so that you're never really wondering, well, what does this card do? It's
Yes.
a well designed game. It's not a fast game, but but with two players, it's manageable. And I've never even played the other side of the player mats because you've got the player board that we the one I taught it to you, we played with the one where it's everyone's the same, but you play on the other side and you've got sort of an asymmetric setup, and that's something else to try. Or there's these goals you can add in, and I'm excited to try those as well. It's just a fun game. I played it, I don't know, 15, 20 times before the end of last year. And I am looking forward to playing it a lot more this year. I can't see myself getting bored of it anytime soon. My
Mm-hmm.
number one, although it's a close number one, any of those top four could easily have been my number one and probably
Yeah.
was at some point while I was making this list. But for now, at least, my number one is Underwater Cities.
Yeah. I totally agree. That's a really cool game. That's something that surprised me. How I really wanted to try it, but it surprised me how much I liked it. As being a heavy Euro game, kind of a like dry Euro game, but it kind of feels that the theme fits the game. that's where, and those worker placement spots, and yeah, I totally agree with the whole package here. And there's a question as well on the chat: is that how valid are the comparisons of underwater cities to terraforming Mars? That some
And well,
people say
my
that,
opinion is that people who say that it's like terraforming Mars haven't actually played it.
and I would say, I mean, like they're not the
It's
same.
it's not it's nothing like
Totally,
terraforming Mars at all.
yeah,
Uh,
totally different games.
in that you're using cards to do things and you're trying to get cards to work to your advantage, but this is a worker placement game with cards. And sure, there's some engine going, but it just does not feel like terraforming Mars at all. I
Yeah, I mean,
can't.
the only way is that if you can compare the two domes are basically those tiles and you're building some things on them, but it's really not. Even that one is just a very loose
Yeah,
comparison. And the cars themselves work totally differently from the ones
yeah.
in Terraforming Mars. Terraforming Mars is
I
card
mean,
game, you know,
a
I
way
would
to
say.
think about it is in terraforming Mars, you're building a production engine, and every round that engine will fire, and you'll get sort of some way to produce things. And that is how you're driving yourself forward. In this game, the production is very minimal. You might build things because they produce, but you're building them, you're producing it. The production only happens 3 times throughout the whole game.
Yeah,
And the last one doesn't count because it's just really a score, it's just really for scoring. So I just don't really see the comparison at all. And I
yeah,
don't
it's
know that
this
people
one.
who've played both, I don't think people who've played both more than one time would really make that comparison.
Yeah, yeah, and this one is like Underwater City for me is like a resource management where the cards themselves are also like resources with special
Mm-hmm.
abilities, though. And yeah, so but that's it for now. That was episode number 5. Top 10 games of 2019 was the essential topic, but we did guess that game and desired play. You can always put in the comments below after of course the live show is done. You can put in the comments below if you like those new segments or not, if there are any other segments that you'll like us to do, maybe some ideas. We're not gonna do everything because we don't want to make this video will be longer, but I don't want to make this video too long. I mean, like those videos
Mm-hmm.
usually, depends on the topic. So, but we're gonna be back tomorrow with top 10 most anticipated games of 2019. By the way, we're gonna take a look at the Cult of the Future. Yeah. Anyway, so thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all those social media channels. And you can also look at the Kyle's. Kyle has his own blog as well. So
Yeah, well, sometimes
while
I
I'm
need to get
managing all
back
the
on that.
channels, yeah, you have the blog. But
All
also,
right.
if Kyle is gonna make another top 100 lists, he's gonna
I'm going to do one this year. I do it every other year. So
yeah, and you're gonna put it on my channel,
I
or
hope if you'll
I'm
let
gonna
me.
put it on my channel.
Yeah, that'll come toward the end of the year after I have played some more games.
Yeah, but as we see, we already do those Würfel casts, and I'm gonna do more of them. Not every
Sounds good.
day. All right, it's time to say goodbye. So goodbye, folks. Thanks to everyone, by the way, who was in chat and who asked questions. And I hope those who watch it afterwards will still comment under the video below with the suggestions and everything else in the comments. So
All right.
good night, especially for those who live in Europe, because
Well,
for
good
me it's
night for
almost.
those who live in the U.S. too, because it's nighttime.
Is it? For me it's 2 a.m.
it's
almost.
it's almost 7 a.m. It's almost 7 p.m. here. That's night.
Oh, it's not. Come on. All right.
All right. Good night.
Bye bye.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. Bye bye. In 3, 2, 1.